My beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I want to remind you of something that may seem simple, yet it carries immense weight in the eyes of Allah. You see, we live in a world where people are quick to label us, judge us, and try to define our worth based on their limited understanding, their opinions, or even their jealousy. But let me tell you something powerful. Your value does not come from people. It comes from your Creator. Subhanallah, when Allah created you, He honored you. He chose your features, your race, your family, and your circumstances with divine wisdom. He breathed into you from His own spirit. Fa'ida sawaitu wa nafakutu fiha min rohi. That in itself tells you that you are already worthy, already loved, and already significant in the sight of Allah. So don't let someone else's rejection break you. Don't let society's unrealistic standards define your happiness. You are not what people say you are. You are what Allah knows you to be. And remembering, people will change their opinion about you 100 times, but Allah's mercy, Allah's value for you never changes. So long as you remain connected to Him. Let's dive into this topic and understand how to protect our self-worth from being crushed by the words and expectations of people, and how to reconnect with the only one who truly defines us. Rabbul Alameen. Your worth was determined by Allah before anyone had an opinion about you. That's a reality that every believer must remind themselves of, especially in times of pain, rejection, or self-doubt. Before the people around you formed judgments, before the world started measuring you by your appearance, your wealth, your popularity, or your achievements, Allah had already created you with purpose, value, and honor. He chose you to exist. That alone is proof of your worth. Allah says in the Quran, "Indeed we have honored the children of Adam." Surah Al-Isra 1770. This honor is not based on how many followers you have, how successful you appear, or how society views you. It's an inherent dignity given to every human being simply by virtue of being created by Allah. When you came into this world, Allah didn't wait for people to approve of you. He already approved of your existence. He already knew your strengths, your weaknesses, your struggles, and your journey. He knew the mistakes you would make, the tears you would cry, and the prayers you would whisper in the darkness of night. And despite all of that, He still chose to create you. That alone is love. The problem begins when we start measuring ourselves through the eyes of others. The moment we begin to allow people's opinions, their praise, or their criticism to shape our sense of value, we begin to drift away from the truth that Allah already gave us. We forget that people see only what is apparent. They see your clothes, your job title, house, your status. But Allah sees your heart. People change their opinion about you when circumstances change. One day they may cheer for you, and the next day they may turn their backs. But Allah's opinion about you is based on something far deeper. Your sincerity, your intention, your effort, your patience, and your repentance. Remember, even before you were born, Allah wrote your risk, your lifespan, and your place in this world. Before your name was known by anyone, it was recorded in the preserved tablet. He shaped you in your mother's womb when no one even knew you existed. Or He created you in stages in the darkness of 3 veils, says the Quran. That means your journey began in complete privacy, seen only by Allah. That's how intimate His knowledge of you is. So why should we ever let those who barely know us define our worth? Throughout the history of the prophets, we see that people's opinions never truly reflected one's worth. The people mocked Prophet Nuh. They rejected Prophet Musa, and they called our beloved Prophet Muhammad at names like madman, poet, or magician. But what did Allah do? He raised them in honor and gave them eternal respect. This teaches us something powerful. The birth of you being rejected by people doesn't mean you are worthless. In fact, it may mean you are walking in the footsteps of those most beloved to Allah. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who make us feel the least valuable. It could be a family member who constantly criticizes you, a friend who belittles your efforts, or a society that refuses to accept you. But always remember, their opinions are not your truth. Allah's view of you is the only one that matters in the end. When you stand before Him on the day of judgment, it won't be about what the world thought of you. It will be about the heart you brought to Him. So lift your head high, not with arrogance, but with quiet confidence in the knowledge that your value isn't up for debate. It was sealed the day Allah said, "You be." And you came into existence. That is the only validation you will ever need. People's judgment is limited, but Allah's knowledge is complete. This is a truth that brings comfort, especially when we find ourselves misjudged, misunderstood, or falsely accused. Human beings, by their very nature, are limited in what they see, what they know, and what they understand. No matter how intelligent or insightful someone may be, they will never know the full reality of your life, your intentions, your struggles, or your sincerity. But Allah knows it all. Every detail, every thought, every secret. That is why it is so dangerous to place too much importance on the judgment of people, and it is why we should turn to Allah, whose knowledge encompasses all things, for our validation and guidance. Often, we try to present a version of ourselves that others will accept. We work hard to fit into society's expectations, to be praised by our peers, or to avoid being criticized. But no matter how much we do, there will always be someone who misunderstands us. People will judge us based on fragments of information. They see one moment, one mistake, one post, or one expression, and they think they know our story. But only Allah knows the full picture. He knows what you've been through, what you're trying to overcome, and the silent battles you fight every day. He knows your sincerity even when others accuse you. He knows your intentions, even when others assume the worst. He knows the goodness you do in secret, the does you whisper, and the charity you give without anyone noticing. This is why trusting in Allah's knowledge brings peace to the heart. It reminds us that we don't have to prove ourselves to everyone. We don't need to clear our name with every critic. We don't need to explain our journey to those who only see a part of it. Allah already knows, and that is enough. He is all-Basir, the all-seeing and al-Kabir, the all-aware. When you are truthful with Allah, when your heart is clean before Him, you will never be a loser. Even if the world turns against you. One of the most beautiful examples of this is found in the story of Maryam as. When she returned to her people carrying her newborn son, people rushed to judge her. They accused her of wrongdoing. They did not know the miracle that had taken place. They did not know the truth. But Allah knew, and He defended her through her son, Prophet Isa who spoke from the cradle. Imagine that. People pointing fingers, but Allah had already prepared a miracle to silence them. This is a powerful lesson. Don't fear people's judgment when you are right with Allah. He will take care of your honor, your dignity, and your story in ways you cannot imagine. Sometimes Allah allows you to be tested through people's misunderstanding. Not because you are wrong, but because He wants to purify your heart from seeking their approval. He wants you to realize that their opinion does not define your worth. What truly matters is His knowledge of your sincerity. When your heart is sincere, even if the world misunderstands you, you are successful. And when your heart is corrupt, even if the world praises you, you are in loss. So always focus on what Allah knows about you. People may forget your kindness, but Allah records every good deed. People may question your intentions, but Allah rewards every sincere effort. People may walk away from you in doubt, but Allah stays with you in certainty. Let their limited judgment fall where it may. You were never created to live by their approval. You were created to worship and please the one whose knowledge is perfect, whose mercy is vast and whose justice never fails. Seeking validation from people leads to disappointment. Seek it from Allah. This is a truth that many learn the hard way. The human heart naturally craves love, approval, and acknowledgement. We want to be appreciated for our efforts, noticed for our struggles, and praised for our achievements. But when we make people the center of our worth, when we begin to live for their compliments, acceptance, or attention, we open the door to pain, confusion, and heartbreak. The reality is that people are inconsistent. Today they may cheer for you, tomorrow they may forget you. Their validation is temporary and often based on what serves their own interests, not what's true or fair. Many people spend their lives chasing the approval of others, dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way, acting out of character, just to please people who may never even understand them. They pose for likes, speak for claps, and act for applause. But in doing so, they lose their peace, their sincerity, and sometimes even their relationship with Allah. What they don't realize is that no matter how much they try to please people, it will never be enough. There will always be someone who criticizes, misunderstands, or looks down on them. That's the nature of people. They are hard to satisfy, quick to forget, and often unaware of the deeper story. But when you live for Allah's pleasure, everything changes. Suddenly your actions carry meaning that no one else needs to validate. Your efforts are seen by the one who never overlooks even an atom's weight of good. Your sincerity is rewarded, even if the world doesn't see it. Your tears are counted, your sacrifices are recorded, and your intentions are protected by the one who knows what's in the hearts. With Allah, you never need to put on a mask or perform for approval. You can be honest, raw and real, and still be loved beyond what anyone can offer. Think about the Prophet Muhammad. Despite being the most truthful, the most kind, the most trustworthy, he was still insulted, boycotted, and ridiculed by his own people. Did that mean he wasn't worthy? Of course not. It meant that seeking people's approval is not the measure of success. If even the most perfect of humans faced rejection, what makes us think that we can always win people's approval? The Prophet taught us through his example to seek Allah's validation first. His heart was firmly attached to his Lord, not to public opinion. Sometimes, Allah will allow people to turn away from you to remind you that your heart has become too attached to their praise. He removes their approval so you can return to Him, so you can realize that true peace comes only from pleasing the one who never changes, never forgets, and never abandons. When your goal becomes to please Allah, your life becomes simpler. You speak the truth, even if it's unpopular. You act with sincerity, even when no one is watching. You do good even when it goes unnoticed. Because you know that your reward is with the one who sees everything. Seeking validation from people can also lead you to compromise your values. You may start doing things that go against your principles or your faith just to fit in, just to be liked. But when you seek Allah's pleasure, He gives you strength. He gives you clarity. He makes you stand firm even when the world is shaky. And the beautiful part, when Allah is pleased with you, He places acceptance for you in the hearts of others in the right time, in the right way. So choose wisely where your heart looks for worth. People may love you today and forget you tomorrow, but Allah's love is consistent. His appreciation is eternal. Live for His approval, and you will never be truly disappointed. Comparison with others distracts you from your unique purpose. It's one of the most subtle yet powerful traps of Shaitan. In a world dominated by social media and constant exposure to the lives of others, we are made to feel like we are behind, like we are not doing enough, not achieving enough, or not becoming enough. We begin to measure our journey through the lens of someone else's success, forgetting that Allah created each of us with a distinct path, a different story, and a unique purpose. The more we compare, the more we lose sight of who we are and what we were meant to do. When you look at someone else's life, you are seeing a carefully selected version, a moment in time that doesn't reflect the entire reality. But your heart, unaware of the full story, begins to feel ungrateful, dissatisfied, and even resentful. You start thinking, why not me? Or why is their life so perfect while I'm struggling? That kind of thinking slowly eats away at your inner peace. It blinds you to the blessings in your own life. You stop seeing the gifts Allah has placed in front of you because your eyes are too busy scanning someone else's plate. Allah never created you to be like someone else. He created you to be you, with your strengths, your weaknesses, your tests, and your growth. Your risk was written only for you. Your trials were tailor-made to shape you. Your talents were designed to help you fulfill your specific mission in life. So when you compare yourself to someone else, you are essentially questioning Allah's wisdom. You are saying, maybe what you gave me is not enough. And that's a dangerous place for the heart to be. Gratitude fades, envy grows, and you become disconnected from your true purpose. Look at the prophets. Each one had a different story, a different strength, and a different mission. Prophet Musa was given strength and leadership. Prophet Isa was given the miracle of healing. Prophet Yusuf was tested with beauty and betrayal. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad was the seal of prophethood, sent with the final message. Each one fulfilled their unique role in serving Allah's command. None of them compared or competed with the other. They understood that their value came not from being like someone else, but from fulfilling the role Allah had assigned to them. In the same way, your job is not to be like the person next to you. Your job is to discover what Allah has placed inside of you and use it for His sake. Some people are meant to lead, others to support. Some are meant to speak, others to listen. Some shine in public, others in private. All are valuable in the sight of Allah if their intention is sincere and their effort consistent. It is not about fame, numbers, or recognition. It is about fulfilling your trust, the amana Allah gave you when He created you. Comparison also breeds impatience. You may see someone achieving something you've been making dua for, and you start to feel like you've been left behind. But maybe Allah is preparing something better for you. Maybe He's delaying it for a reason you can't see yet. The one you envy might be struggling in ways you could never imagine. What you see on the outside is not the whole picture, and what you feel inside may not be grounded in truth. Trust Allah's timing and His plan for you. So, instead of comparing, focus. Focus on your growth, your heart, your journey. Look inward, not outward. Compete with yourself, not with others. The only comparison that is healthy is the one that motivates you to improve for the sake of Allah. And remember, success in this life and the next is not measured by how similar you are to others, but by how faithfully lived your own unique purpose. Self-worth in Islam is rooted in taqwa, not worldly status. This is one of the most liberating truths that a believer can hold on to in a world obsessed with material success, fame, and external appearances. While society measures a person's value based on their wealth, physical appearance, academic achievements, job titles, or popularity, Islam shifts the scale entirely. Allah does not look at your bank account, your skin color, your social following, or your job. He looks at your heart. And in the sight of Allah, the most honored, the most valuable among us is the one with the most taqwa. God consciousness. Taqwa is not something visible. You can't photograph it or show it off. It's a quality that lives in the heart, reflected in how you treat people, how you respond in private moments, how sincerely you worship, how quickly you seek forgiveness when you slip. That means your true worth has nothing to do with how others see you. It has everything to do with how connected your heart is to your Creator. In Surah Al-Hijrat, Allah makes it clear, indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the one with the most taqwa, 4:9-13. That is the divine standard, not your background, your tribe, not your language, and not your external achievements. It is your taqwa that raises your status in the heavens, even if the people around you don't recognize your worth. A person unknown on earth could be famous in the heavens because of their sincerity and righteousness, and a person praised by people may be nothing in the sight of Allah if they lack taqwa. Think of Bilal a former slave in the eyes of society, yet he became one of the most honored companions of the Prophet, not because of wealth or lineage, but because of his unwavering faith, his pure heart, and his taqwa. The Prophet himself said he could hear the footsteps of Bilal in Jannah. That's honor. That's worth. And it came from his connection to Allah, not the approval of people. This should be a source of deep comfort for those who feel overlooked, underestimated, or judged based on worldly criteria. Maybe you don't have the best clothes. Maybe you come from a simple background. Maybe you don't speak eloquently or look like what society promotes as successful. But in the eyes of Allah, you could be among the most beloved. If your heart is sincere, if you strive to obey Him, if you treat people with kindness and keep your intentions clean, then you are walking the path of the honored ones. Worldly status is temporary. It fades, changes, and often leads people into arrogance and pride. But taqwa keeps a person humble, grounded, and focused on the eternal. A person with taqwa doesn't need validation from the world because they know that Allah is watching, and His approval is what truly matters. They don't seek praise for their good deeds. They don't show off their knowledge or worship. They live with the quiet strength of someone who is constantly aware of their Lord. So if you ever feel like you don't matter because you haven't reached society's version of success, remind yourself of this Islamic truth. Your worth is not tied to status, income, or fame. Your worth is tied to the purity of your soul, your love for Allah, and your effort to live in obedience to Him. That is what elevates you in the sight of the one who created you. And when He honors you, it doesn't matter who else sees it, the angels witness it, the heavens record it. And that is enough. The Prophet was mocked by people, yet honored by Allah. Follow his example. This single truth changes everything for a believer who is struggling with rejection, criticism, or being misunderstood. In today's world, people often equate being respected with being loved by everyone, being praised constantly, or never facing judgment. But when we look at the most beloved human being to ever walk the earth, Prophet Muhammad, we see that he faced immense criticism and mockery. Yet he remained firm, not because people supported him, but because he was honored by Allah. His strength didn't come from the approval of society. It came from his unshakable connection to his Lord. From the earliest days of Islam, the Prophet was insulted, rejected by his own tribe, called names like madman, magician, poet, and liar. They accused him of fabricating the Quran. They mocked his message, his mission, and even his character, despite him being known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, before he declared prophethood. Some of the people closest to him turned against him. Others tried to isolate him, boycott him, and humiliate him in every possible way. But even with all that opposition, the Prophet remained steadfast. Why? Because he knew that the honor of a person doesn't come from people. It comes from Allah. When Allah honors someone, no one can take that away. The Prophet was elevated by Allah to the highest of status. He was chosen as the seal of the prophets, given the miracle of the Quran, led the believers in prayer during the miraculous night journey of Isra and Mi'raj, and is praised by Allah in the Quran itself. For indeed you are upon a great character, Surah Al-Qalam 68 That's a level of honor no human praise could ever match. So when you feel discouraged because people are mocking you, ignoring your efforts, or looking down on you, remind yourself you are in good company. You are walking in the footsteps of the Prophet. If the most beloved to Allah was insulted and rejected, then who are we to expect a life free from criticism or pain? The test is not whether people love you. The test is whether you stay sincere when they don't. One of the traps of Shaitan is making you think that people's opinion determines your value. But the Prophet taught us that our mission is not to please people, it is to please Allah. When you live with sincerity and you strive to follow the Prophet's character, his patience, his mercy, his integrity, his gentleness, you become honored in the sight of Allah, even if the world doesn't acknowledge it. That is true success. There were moments when the Prophet felt sadness, not because he doubted himself, but because he cared so deeply about guiding people. Allah comforted him directly in the Quran, saying, "Also do not let your soul be consumed in regret over them." Surah Fatir 5g8. This shows that even when you do everything right, people may still reject you. But that rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their hearts. Following the example of the Prophet means remaining true to your values even when it's hard. It means speaking the truth with wisdom, staying humble even when you're right, and forgiving even when you're hurt. It means choosing sincerity over popularity, and patience over instant gratification. So never be discouraged by the opinions of those who don't understand your journey. Your goal is not to be accepted by the people, your goal is to be accepted by Allah. Just like the Prophet walk his path, love his example, and carry yourself with dignity. Because when Allah honors you, no insult can diminish you, and no rejection can break you. My beloved brothers and sisters, as we reflect on everything discussed, one truth shines through with absolute clarity: your worth was never meant to be defined by people. It was already defined by Allah. The one who created you, nurtures you, and knows you better than you know yourself. People will judge based on appearances, they will praise and criticize based on their limited view, and their opinions will constantly change. But Allah's knowledge is perfect, His wisdom is unmatched, and His love is everlasting. When He says you are honored, that honor remains. No matter what others say. If you live your life chasing people's approval, you will always be running and never satisfied. But if you turn your heart towards Allah and live for His pleasure, He will fill you with strength, dignity, and peace that no human being can ever take from you. You were not created to be like others, nor were you created to live by their standards. You were created to fulfill your unique purpose, to strive for taqwa, and to walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth is rooted in their Creator. So don't compare your journey to anyone else's. Don't let rejection make you question your value. Don't allow mockery to break your spirit. The Prophet endured all of that and more, and yet he was the most honored in the sight of Allah. Follow his path. Embrace your identity. Anchor your heart in taqwa. And remember always the one who made you has already given you value. And with him, that value is eternal.